I guess historically I have a greater connection with the UK than I do Australia, even though my natural birthplace is Australia. My father was born in the UK, and the same applies to my wife and my 2 children. What's that? My mother is Australian. To what extent, I don't know. I didn't see a lot of my mother growing up. The one part of my identity which I don't know is really how my family settled in Australia. And I guess that's a lot to do with my mother's side of the family.
Jason Donovan made his name at the age of 17 in the Australian soap opera Neighbours, before moving on to become a chart-topping recording artist and a star of West End musicals. The only child of divorced parents, Jason's always had a distant relationship from his mother and hasn't spoken to her now for a number of years.
My father got custody of me, so I spent most of my childhood, well, all of my childhood with my dad. So I know very little about my mother's history. Maybe looking into this now gives me a greater understanding of her life, because it's a pretty blank canvas, unfortunately.
Jason Donovan is 42 years old and was born in Melbourne. Today he lives in West London, where his father's ancestors once lived.
My father is always keen for me to be aware of my English roots in Notting Hill and Kensington. My great-great-grandmother was the last licensed cow keeper, or her husband, in Kensington, so there's that connection. But I don't have the same understanding of my mother's roots and my Australian story.
Jason's coming to the end of an 18-month stint starring in the West End musical Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Priscilla is essentially about 3 gay characters, drag queens, eccentrics, misfits, that take this road journey into sort of Australia and sort of discover who they are along the way. Maybe this is the opportunity in my life to go back a bit to my roots. And, you know, I'm going to this pretty blind, and that's maybe one of the reasons why I'm doing it.
In his mission to find out about his mother's family, Jason is leaving London in springtime and flying 10,000 miles to Melbourne, where it's autumn. Both of Jason's parents still live in the city. But because Jason is currently estranged from his mother Sue, his only lead to unravelling her family story is through his dad, Terence.
My father really took the dominant role in my growing up process. That's a pretty good place to start. I think had my grandmother been alive, then maybe on my mother's side, maybe I would have sort of spent some time with her, but it seems logical to sort of start at where I grew up, which is in Melbourne.
Before she died, Jason's granny gave his dad some mementos of Jason's mum's side of the family history to keep for Jason.
Chad, hey. How are you? How you going? Good. Come in. Good to see you, man.
Jason comes from a show business family. His father, Terence Donovan, was a well-known television and stage actor. His mother, Sue Menlove, was also an actress and went on to become a household name as a newsreader and broadcaster.
Where did you meet Sue?
I gate crashed a party in Melbourne.
In Melbourne.
In Melbourne.
And you'd come to Australia?
Oh, long time before that.
Before that.
Yeah. There is your mum and me and you went in...
I don't think I've ever seen that. So I must have been how old there,
about 3 or 2.5.
When did you guys split up?
Oh, 72, 73.
72.
Yeah.
72. So, both strong characters.
Yeah.
Both of you.
Yeah, I worked in the week and Sue worked on the weekend, so we were sort of constantly working 7 days a week, the two of us. And in the meantime, we were sort of looking after you.
So you're both very busy?
Yeah, very busy. Yeah. Very, very busy.
Whilst both parents were busy with their careers, Sue's mother, Joan, looked after Jason.
Here's a lovely one of you and Joan in your De La Salle uniform.
There's so much of Joan, I remember. She used to make chicken sandwiches for me.
Yeah.
And a flask of tea.
Yeah. And put you on the train.
Joan was anxious for Jason to know about his mother's side of the family, and so put together a folder of documents as part of her legacy to him.
So Joan's mother, what was her mum's name?
Eileen.
Eileen.
Yeah, Eileen Dawson. I didn't know very much about Eileen Dawson, but here she is, and it looks like it's from her singing career. I don't know what she appeared in, but...
Well, she was born in 1886. She died in 1975, so I must have seen her a bit.
Oh, yeah, you did, especially we've got some photographs
of me with her.
With her. And that is Eileen and you.
Wow, that's interesting.
Which you must have been about 4.
That was probably in Gran's house, wasn't it? So this is my mother's mother. And...
Mother's mother.
My mother's mother's mother.
Yeah,
My great-grandmother.
Yeah.
Right.
With his dad's help, Jason has traced his mother's line back 3 generations to his great-grandmother, Eileen Dawson, who was born in Melbourne in 1886.
Now, her original name was Eileen Lyons.
Right.
Someone has alluded to the fact that there was an element of Jewish in the family.
No, it was a Lions Corner house in London, which was on every street corner. So I recall that as a child. And I think it was run by a Jewish crowd. Nigella Lawson, in actual fact, she was a part of that family who owned the Lions Corner houses.
Really?
Yeah.
So maybe I was part of that. Maybe I'm connected to Nigella.
Oh.
I'd be happy with that. So Eileen Lyons was a singer.
Yeah, she was. Now,
do you know what type of singer?
Well, I thought she was an opera singer. I mean, so they spoke about it, but they never really gave you much information about what she did, her background. I never saw programs or credits or anything like that, but they did speak about the fact that she was a singer, and it'd be interesting to go in her past and find out exactly what she did.